This 2026 NASCAR Championship Favorites edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and we are back today for another round of NASCAR Championship Futures. Cody, we talked about some long shots yesterday, and we figured it was time to stop because the favorites here probably have a more lengthy conversation to be had about some of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who knew the long shots were going to be such an involved conversation, but hey, that's part of the fun in betting, right? Is building the case for the 150 to ones or whatever it might be. So if you haven't listened to that, you go back. You can listen to this part first. Probably doesn't really matter which order, but yeah, definitely go back and check that out for the bottom half of the Drivers' Championship odds for 2026. And yeah, I think all of the guys that we're going to get to today deserve legit discussion around how and why they could become the champion, and then whether or not they're worth betting on, which of course is what we're here for.
Yes, it is. And honestly, too, the guys that we had the lengthy discussions on yesterday on the last episode, I think they actually did warrant those lengthy conversations because, like we said, I mean, listen. So this is the portion of the odds sheet in which we will probably get our champion because, as we said yesterday, right, this is the shorter odds. These guys are the ones that have continued to repeat as champions. We haven't seen a very long shot champion in a while, and so it makes it difficult to say, I 100% get behind like SVG, like we said yesterday, right? There is a strong case to be made for that. But again, you know, some of these guys, they're not one-offs. They either start and then they keep winning, or these guys just keep cycling through the champions. So this is where we're probably going to get our champion, which is why we need to spend a little bit of time discussing each of these guys because they're all pretty much either been champions before and have the very real possibility of doing it again, or they could grab it for the first time because they've been so consistently good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you nailed it, right? These are the favorites for a reason. It's just like the Super Bowl odds. I mean, you might be crazy enough to bet on the Patriots 80 to 1, and hey, they might be one of the best teams in football right now. So that's why you take the long shots, right? But we all know it's probably going to be the Kansas City Chiefs at the end of the day because that's just how it works. But hey, now because I have that 80 to 1, at 9-2, that's right. The Patriots are 9-2, Rod. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. I guess sweat that out for the rest of the season. So it's great.
It's great that Patriots are bowl eligible, so they can get a good
that's
bowl.
Right.
They're probably in the playoffs at this point. So Andrew checking in saying, hi, missed you guys, which by the way, hi, Andrew. We definitely missed you as well.
Yeah.
But that, yeah, what a ride for your Patriots, my friend. You must be flying high at this point.
Oh, it's beautiful. It was a rough 4 years that we were bad. It was tough to, go through the grind of being a horrible team. I can't imagine being a fan of the Jets or the Browns. But yeah, it's glad to be back. Good to be back on top now. It was such a weak schedule. Hey, play was in front of you any given Sunday. We've beaten all the teams, beat the Bills, beat the Bucks. And yeah, things are looking good. They're guaranteed to have a winning season now, which is nice. Vrabel, best decision the organization's made in a long time. Drake May, he might be the best decision the organization's made in a long time. Looking beautiful. It's just wonder. It's a great time to be a Patriots fan.
It's a great time.
Really, not ever a bad time. But
it's a great time to be a sports fan in general, though, because the SGPN app has everything you want. There's more football talk than you can shake your stick. There's more football talk than you can handle out there. You can get every episode of every show that's ever been produced on this one in one convenient feed. Search the SGPN on your favorite podcast app. Hit subscribe. Never miss an episode ever of anything we do on this. All right, well, Cody, like we said, we're going to go over the championship favorites in this episode. You want the long shots, go back to tomorrow. But there was some news that we kind of left on the table yesterday that we said we'd pick back up again today. So where do we begin our trek down this news tunnel that has seemingly gotten a lot bigger?
Yeah, and even some news that kind of came out today, actually, as well. So ever evolving news. But Chevrolet did release their new car today. Oh my God, all this hype! It's gonna be crazy. Oh, it's just the Camaro. I don't know. I mean, basically, in hilarious. Like, so the Camaro is no longer in production, right? Chevy doesn't have a car that they make currently, so it's like, what are they gonna do? All this rumors and stuff, but it's going to be the Camaro, which is no longer in production. NASCAR grandfathered in the body style, and Chevy wanted to make some changes so it could be more competitive. Of course, Chevy's not been very competitive, so I could see why they would need to add some competition level, right? But basically, I guess they sell parts or whatever that you can upgrade your Camaro that you currently have with or something. They're kind of just using that. Minor changes, basically, that they think are going to make them more competitive, which, as we get into championship talk, obviously they're the defending champions. They obviously have some pretty good race car drivers and pretty good teams. SVG drives a Chevy, by the way. Flashback to yesterday's conversation. But, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of like, okay, this is pretty boring, but that's the case, I guess.
I was hoping that they'd roll out the Traverse. I have a Traverse, and it'd be fun to see the Traverse out there on the...
We're saving that for the SUV series, Rod. That's there's been talk for years. They're working on an SUV series. Everybody laughed at the truck series if you're laughing right now, and look what it's become. So who knows? Maybe someday we'll get the SUV series.
I will definitely become a driver for the SUV series if that's happens, because I've been driving an SUV now for a while, and I feel comfortable to go at speeds of 78 miles an hour around the track. I'm definitely good for that. But yeah, I mean, listen,
SUVs would be, although they've done it with trucks, so they've made it work. But I feel like it'd be harder to make sure those didn't roll over.
I mean, I feel
it's
like
already pretty hard with cars, but yeah, the SUV might be tougher.
I feel like that every day on the road. I'm like, oh my God, I'm probably going to roll over. But no, like, yeah, that was pretty anticlimactic as far as the car was concerned. And honestly, too, ever since they got away from the stock car version of things and made them all essentially the same kind of car, but just with like one tweak here and there, it doesn't matter. You could just slap a blue oval on that or a prancing pony or whatever.
Yeah. That's the thing is, like, really they're all pretty close to being the same. I mean, you could just, if you looked at it, right, you could tell the difference between the Dark Horse and the Chevy and the Camry, yes. But in a general sense, the cars are kind of all the same. So is what it is, whatever. It's minor changes. I don't know that it's a huge deal. Maybe they'll open the season with a big advantage on something, and then the other teams will catch up. That's how it usually works. So I wouldn't look too much into it.
Yeah, me either. All right, what else is brewing in that news cycle we've got going on?
Yeah, well, Actions Instrumental was released today, finally. Of course, Denny had not released an episode of his podcast post the championship blunder, I guess, if you want to call it. But they did release it today. I listened to it, and one thing I took away from it, he says if he would have won the championship, he would have begged Joe to let him out, a.k.a. of his contract and retire. So if he'd have won, which obviously he became very close to, he was planning to hang it up John Elway style, Peyton Manning style, just right off into the sunset as a champion and close the book. So I guess you could say him not winning the championship, bit of a blessing in disguise because we get him for 2 more seasons, right? Then he kind of went on into they're working on building his succession plan and all of that. So it really does sound like these 2 years are the final 2 years for Denny. Maybe if they go just swimmingly and he's got 2 seasons like he did this season, they figure it out and extend that past that, right? A lot of things can change in 2 years. Or maybe at that point he decides to drive for himself, whether it's part-time or whatever else, or step back into Xfinity or something else. But yeah, definitely interesting that he said he was going to potentially just walk away if they could work it out with Joe Gibbs.
We said that. I mean, we all both thought that, or everybody pretty much thought
I didn't buy it though. Like I thought it was, I was like, he's not going to, like, I don't know. But again, who knows how he would have felt in the moment, right? I mean, he was obviously probably thinking about, God, that just sounds horrible how he was thinking about it as the laps were closing in and they get that late caution. But yeah, boy, how the world could change if one small thing doesn't happen, the butterfly effect from that route.
Yep, that butterfly doesn't flap its wings and disturb the air, and then Denny Hamlin doesn't get, a championship bid just folded on. But I will say this. When you look back at his legacy, right? When you look back at Denny Hamlin, whether this is the next 2 years and that's it and he doesn't win anything, would it change? Because, when you start talking about having these conversations, we're like, oh, they're the best to never win one. Like the Buffalo Bills. If the Buffalo Bills ever win a Super Bowl, right? Like,
I didn't know you were going to be such a comedian today, Rod. If the Buffalo Bills ever win a Super Bowl. That's the funniest joke I've ever heard.
But do you see how the conversation shifts? Because now the Buffalo Bills have won one, and now you will talk about that footnote in their history.
That's my worst nightmare.
I know
the
it
Buffalo
is.
Bills winning a Super Bowl.
I know. But I'm just saying, like, that kind of conversation. So if Denny Hamlin ends up winning one in the next 2 years, now gone is to never win one, and what does that do to his legacy?
Yeah. It completely... I mean, he's already first ballot. He walks in the Hall of Fame the day he retires, right? Not literally because you have to wait a period, but he is in the Hall of Fame. It's first ballot. He is one of the best to ever do it, all of that stuff. But you have that conversation, the best guys to never win a championship. It's him, it's Mark Martin, it's Junior Johnson, right? A good group to be in because those are all three great race car drivers. But putting yourself on that elite list of NASCAR champions, and his whole thing was, this doesn't change how I feel about myself, and I don't think it should. I think that he's very accomplished, and they kind of talked about it too. Like through all this, he's become more respected by the fans, by the other drivers, by his peers, which, to his point, and I think he's got a point, is that's kind of what you're all looking for, right? Like, yes, the numbers mean something, yes, but to have that respect of being able to accomplish what you've accomplished and being generally liked, especially after he had the kind of villain image, and he still sort of plays into it, but even everybody kind of rallied around him here at the end. So yeah, again, it's, if this happens, yes, if that happens, whatever. But interesting definitely to kind of hear his perspective. So of course, listen to this first, but when you're done, go check out Actions Detrimental by Denny there.
Yeah, we can actually expand this conversation a little bit more when we get to Denny Hamlin, who, spoiler alert, will come up in the favorites for sure. So Andrew's saying that he's entering his Mazda in the SUV series. I think that'd be a fun one.
Hey, new manufacturer, right? Be good. Get Mazda in. Dodge has got plenty of SUVs.
Kia.
Toyota's got their SUVs already. Kia can enter the sport. Fuck it. Let's get some other brands in the sport and really spread the wealth throughout.
Just no Subarus. I'm sorry if you drive a Subaru, but I am anti-Subaru. Wow. So
shots fired at Subaru.
Yeah.
But hey, if you'd like to sponsor us, we'd love to talk great things about Subaru.
That's true. I will be the biggest.
We can change Rod's opinion with a little sponsorship.
100%.
I'll tell you right now.
I am 100% for sale. Yeah, if you want me to like Subarus, toss money at this show, and I'll gladly switch to Subaru. As a matter of fact,
The NASCAR Gambling Podcast brought to you by Subaru.
Subaru is, yeah, I would definitely do. I'd probably tattoo it on my head if you needed me to. But
we need you to drive around in a NASCAR Gambling Podcast wrapped Subaru. Just have like the QR code on it so people could scan it and pulls the podcast up.
That's death. That's actually death right now. How about turn left 61 says let Dale Jarrett enter the UPS truck. Remember that? That was a lot of fun.
That was such a great campaign.
Yeah.
Such a great campaign. Oh well. Maybe someday.
There we go. I'm back in focus again.
Would you get the local racetracks like to do the bus races and stuff? That's always fun. Watch them race the buses out there. So hey, we had the Wiener race last year at the Indy 500. They raced the Wienermobiles, if you remember that. So
I do.
All kinds of racing series we could have, Rod.
Indeed we can. All right. I think we could save the other parts of the news for the next episode. We still got plenty of time to talk about all kinds of stuff.
By the way, next episode, spoiler alert, is going to be in a couple of hours, Rod. We're going to be live once again at what time are we going? 5:30 your time, right? So
5:30-ish, sure.
8:30-ish Eastern time. We'll be live. We're actually going to be talking about the playoffs, talking about what NASCAR could change the playoffs or the full season point standings, whatever, too, and kind of discussing it, walking through scenarios. We'll take your comments as well and thoughts. So, make sure you set aside some time this evening to join us for that episode.
You could watch some stuff, but don't. Watch us instead. Have some fun talking playoffs with us.
Nothing else on tonight. It's a Friday night.
It is a Friday night. You're good. You're clear. Your schedule's clear. I say so.
That's right. It is now.
All right, we got championship odds to talk about, but first, let me tell you about our friends over at Novig. We are brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. Novig, you're getting the best prices. I'll tell you right now, they are looking ahead at this Clemson-Louisville game that is going to be tonight. Now, granted, I know if you're listening already, you're not going to get the chance, but this is the kind of stuff that they offer over on Novig right now. So most of the folks have, it probably looks like Louisville over here, 54% at -118. They're giving you for Louisville to win this game over on Novig. So 46% on Clemson. Wow, that's crazy. +117 if you're on the Clemson side of this. So seems like people are divided over there on Novig. Go break this gridlock, I suppose. And while you're at it, it's available in 35 states, Novig is, so you could probably find it in yours. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5. Or you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig. Promo code SGPN. Told you about it at the top of the show. How about I tell you about it now? Underdog, your home for pick'em entries where you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. The Grey Cup, the CFL's championship, the Canadian Football League championship, happening this Sunday between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Montreal Alouettes. I love me some A.J. Ouellette, running back for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. This dude's a beast, and really all he does is score. He's a short yardage guy, plus he can break a few ones off. His rushing total is actually set, or his rushing projection is set at 79.5. I like the higher than on this one, but I also like the rushing and receiving touchdowns higher than a half. So you get one touchdown for A.J. Ouellette. You definitely are getting this right. So I'll take the higher than a half a rushing touchdown for A.J. Ouellette in the Grey Cup this Sunday. Underdog's got a brand new offer. If you are a new customer, play just $5 and get $100 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. Oh, I can't wait for the Grey Cup. I wish my Red Blacks were in there, but they're in rebuilding mode again. So I guess I'll just have to root for Trevor Harris, who was formerly a Red Black on the Rough Riders.
There you go. Sounds like a blast, Rob.
Well, yeah, and of course, Ottawa used to have the Rough Riders and the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, so there's a little connection there.
There you go. All right, we'll take it.
CFL history. Learn it, kids. All right, so let's start talking about these favorites, right? So we're getting these odds, like we talked about yesterday, off of BetMGM. They seem to be the only ones right now with championship odds. Obviously, more will populate sooner rather than later, and keep your eye out for them, but right now, BetMGM is the only one that's got it. And we left off where we last left off.
And just to preface again, too, like right now, as we talk about this, now it's November 14th, right? We don't know what the playoff format is. If there is a playoff format, if it's 36 races, if it's still one race like it was previously, unlikely that. But whether it's a 3-3-4, whether it's a 5-5, whether it's 10, again, we're going to talk about all of those possible things again in a little bit on our next episode in a couple hours here. So definitely come back and join us then. But keep that in mind as we talk through these guys, right? We don't know exactly. And I think that's part of was the fun yesterday was speculating like, okay, maybe, if this is the case, it could really help a guy like that as we look at these.
Yeah, and really, that's the other thing, too, the case that could be made for these long shots, too, is if they make this system in a way that benefits one of these longer shots to make it into the playoffs. Well, obviously, we already know guys like SVG will be making it into the playoffs anyways via wins, or if that's, or even multiple wins, strengthening if it goes by wins and make wins more important. Like, there's case to be made for these guys in the long shots, but, yeah, these guys for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's all part of, again, the conversation we can have and that we don't know is with whatever altered playoff format maybe it is, do they change it to where a win doesn't get you in, where you have to be in the top 20 in points now or the top 25 in points instead of anybody? Or do you have to have 2 wins to be locked into the playoffs? Or, again, endless possibilities when it comes to that.
I like 2 wins. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. But I will tell you this.
Save it for later, Rod.
I know. Damn it. We get down these rabbit holes and we got to stop. I will say this. As we left off yesterday, Ross Chastain was sitting at 25-1 to win the championship. He has since moved now to 30-1 to put himself in that same. Guys like Ryan Preece now have moved up to 25-1. Carson Hocevar.
They listened to the show and they were like, maybe he deserves to be in the lower bracket.
See, and this is what happens. This is why we tell you, too, because these things are so fluid in that you now have guys that are in fact, Shane Van Gisbergen is now 60-1 to win the championship. He moved.
Are you looking at the Daytona 500 odds, Rod?
Hey, Cody, I'm looking at the Daytona 500 odds right now. So,
because I'm looking at the championship odds and they don't look any different.
Hey, asshole, scroll down a little bit there, Rod.
But hey, that is actually a very good note because JDK, I know he always listening. He did that at one point this year and it almost ended up working out for him. Thought he bet Chase Briscoe to win a race. Oops, he bet the championship odds. So just double check because it's so easy to just be like, oh, okay, you click on the tab. Here's race, or championship odds, and you're like, okay. And then, you bet on the wrong thing. So just a good reminder, double check what you're betting on.
You see, that is why I'm here. I'm here as a cautionary tale for those of you who don't want to make the mistake that I just
Rod makes the mistakes so you don't have to.
We are a full-service podcast here at the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. All right, so fine. When we left off last time, Ross Chastain, who's still at 25-1, remains at 25-1. Starting off the tier of drivers that are 25-1 or less. And so Ross Chastain kind of sits alone. Last time we were able to kind of chunk these guys off into 30-1s, 40-1s. But Ross Chastain pretty much sits alone at 25-1. My only issue with Ross Chastain is, the finishing part of this. Oh, JDK's checking in.
I knew JDK would be in the chat. He says best mistake bet I ever made. So hey, maybe sometimes it'll work out for you, but in general, you'd probably like to bet on what you mean to bet on. So, oh well. But yeah, so Ross Chastain sitting here 25-1. As we kind of mentioned, I think that there's a pretty strong case for any of these guys to be championship material. You look at Trackhouse, SVG establishing himself more. We saw how well he ran and consistent he ran on the ovals at the end of the season. Kind of why we talked ourselves into that 150-1 bet yesterday when we were talking about the longer shots. You add Connor Zilisch in there. That's just going to up the level of this is a pretty good team. I mean, you got 3 strong guys in here. Ross is kind of that anchor man that's going to probably be around for a while. That's got the big sponsorship with Busch. And then you've got the 2 young guns or the old gun that's a new guy and the true young gun, right, coming in to build this team up. So, yeah, I think, we haven't got to his teammate Connor Zilisch yet. And spoiler, he's at 10-1 and Chastain's at 25-1. There is a lot wrong with that picture. Very interesting there. We'll talk about it more as we get to Zilisch. But, Ross, I mean, he's made the championship 4 before, right? So in that format, of course, with the Hail Melon, was able to find his way there. We've seen him be able to put together good races and good strings of races. I think you definitely make the case. I'm not racing to the window to bet him at this number, but what are your thoughts on him, Rob?
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Like when we talked about SVG yesterday, SVG is pretty much a lock to win every single road course that's out there, and there's 6 of them, right? So, but with Ross Chastain, yeah, you can say he can win races. He has won races, but I can't sit there and point on a calendar and say this is the race that Ross Chastain is going to win. And it could be that he doesn't win any races, right? And that's the problem with Ross Chastain is that he's capable. You've seen the talent. You've seen him do great things. But like this season, a lot of that was kind of shuffled in the mix, right? Ross Chastain was not always in the conversation. And when he was, you were like, okay, cool. But
yeah, recency bias, like didn't have a good season. I mean, honestly, 2025 was not great for him. He got the 1 win at the Coke 600. Outside of that, we didn't talk about him much. I don't think he made the playoffs, did he? I don't think he did.
He did because he locked himself in with a win. But
with the win, obviously. Yeah, duh. Whew, boy.
He didn't advance.
He was so much of a not factor in the playoffs that I'm guessing he didn't make it past the first round because I definitely don't remember him even being in there. So, yeah, I don't know. But we've seen before how good he can be, right? Tamed the aggression level down. Maybe he finds that happy medium. I think he needs to turn the aggression back up. Maybe not to Carson Hocevar levels. Find the happy medium in there. Maybe we get that from him. If you're a fan of Ross or he's a guy you want to bet on, I wouldn't say not to bet on him. I'm just not racing to the window to do so.
Yeah, the only thing that really concerns me is if you take a look at the season total since 2022 when he had 15 top 5 finishes. 2023, that dipped down to 10. 2024, 6. 2025, 4. There's been digression in that, and I just feel like if you want to be a championship driver, especially whatever playoff format they change, that's got to pick back up again, and I don't know that that's going to happen in one season.
It's going to be really interesting, too, to see how he responds. There's going to be a lot of attention on both of his teammates. Obviously, SVG, we've already penciled him in for 5 to 6 wins next year. Connor Zilisch, a lot of people are penciling him in for a lot of wins, which is a big mistake. But there's going to be a lot of around him, right? A lot of expectations, a lot of he's the guy, the talent. Does it play out? Again, we'll kind of see as we get there. But, it'll be interesting to see how Ross kind of responds to that. Does he take that as a challenge and ups his game? Does he slide back into the shadows and we hear less from him? I don't think that's going to be the case, but it will be interesting.
It will be fun to watch it all unfold. And Laura checking in, saying good afternoon. Hi, Laura. Good to see you. All right, so we got a pair of drivers now at 16-1. We got Tyler Reddick and Joey Logano occupying the 16-1 space together. It's even your Joey Logano, baby. That's it. Enough said.
Auto bet, right, Rod?
Auto bet.
Or is it?
Hammer that. Well, yeah.
That's the thing is with Joey, right? Is I think if we were keeping the same format, you come in, you say, Joey Logano even year, you take it. 16-1, fine. But now, is it a 10-race deal? Is it a 4-race deal? Does it remain how it is? If it's 36, you're probably even less interested in him. I don't know. I would say even your Joey, I think there's still something to it, but that was also all in the Final Four format, right? And really all 3 of his championships came when he kind of snuck in as the other guy and then just got it done in the clutch time. Now, if they advance that to 3 races, does he still have the clutchness to get in there and then perform in 3 races? Well, I'm not going to say he can't do it because I definitely think he can. He's one of very few drivers that have 3 championships in the Cup Series, so you have to give him a lot of credit for that. Penske, we know, is a good team while they struggle at points. I was hoping for a bigger number than 16-1. I just feel like 16-1 doesn't make me want to jump up and go bet on Joey right now.
I will say that I'm going to give even your Joey the good juju in this one and just say, because at 16-1, I don't know that he's going to get any better than that. And honestly, if you really buy into the even your Joey Logano, which, like I said, it's just a fun thing to have. And if you put it in now, I mean, what, $5-10? It'll be a fun little thing to sit on for the rest of the year. But then you can cheer on even your Joey Logano no matter what the playoff format is. And I'm just gonna do that for fun. I'm just gonna say do that for fun and have yourself some even your Joey Logano, because look at. If this comes out again and, maybe in a month or 2 months and they adjust to maybe 10-1 or 9-1, or he starts off good in the season and those don't get back up to 16-1 level, it's not quite as fun to be holding that ticket if it's not 16-1.
So I will say also, too, there may be a point where you could mid-season, he's just kind of running around Cody Ware like he tends to do at points. And that could be your opportunity to, hey, let's get in on him now. And, maybe you get a bigger number if he's a guy you want to hold out on. I don't know. Again, not necessarily racing to do it, but I'm never going to count Joey Logano out because no matter what they change the points to potentially, and they may not, which probably is what Joey prefers because it's worked out so well for him. But no matter what it is, I think he'll adjust and we'll see him show up because he's one of those guys that has the clutch gene, right? We've seen it in sports. Guys that can perform under the biggest pressure, and Joey is one of those guys pretty consistently. He gets it done when it matters the most, and they even potentially tailor their season towards this is when we need to be best, and they have been and done it 3 times before.
They certainly have. Speaking of somebody that's done it before, no,
hold on.
He hasn't.
Are we going to Reddick? Because we didn't talk about him yet.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we were going right back to kids. We kind of skipped right over Tyler Reddick, the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series regular season champion. Still has not got a trophy, championship trophy in that case. At 16-1, I mean, we talked about Bubba being a strong contender for this and his teammate. But Tyler Reddick, a lot like Ross Chastain, Cody. I feel like there's so much talent in there, but the ability to translate that into actual championship conversation is yet to happen. So is this year where it happens?
See, I don't know about that because
but you did it so huge a couple of years ago. And
because yes, and it was right? And he wins the regular season championship and he makes the Final Four and he doesn't quite get it done. But here's the thing. I still think just pure talent level, I think Kyle Larson's the most talented driver in the Cup Series. I think Tyler Reddick is the next most talented driver in the Cup Series on a pure talent level. He's 16-1. I think that a guy at this range has the ability to go out and have a dominant season like we saw 2 years ago. This is your perfect opportunity to buy the dip. Buy it while they're down. Everybody's down on him. He ended the season poorly. The lawsuit stuff was all going on. Then the stuff with the family at the end of the year, right? It sounds like his son's doing a lot better, which, that's such great news. So glad to hear that, obviously. Hopefully, as they go through the offseason, things continue to get better. Son's healthy for next year. But maybe by then we assume the lawsuit's going to be settled, right? The court date is set. We've got the trial coming up. Everything should be good by then. What if I told you that NASCAR wins this, 23-11 goes away, and Tyler Reddick's in a Rick Hendrick car in 2026? Can you imagine having a 16-1 ticket on Tyler Reddick in a Rick Hendrick racing vehicle at 16-1? Probably not going to happen, right? That's a little bit of a longer shot. But hey, of the possibilities that are out there, find a way to get him in that 48 car if he's not able to stay at 23-11, or who knows? What if Denny hangs it up, 23-11 goes away, and he goes into the 11? Probably none of those things. But even at 23-11, we've already seen his ability to get it done. Now, like we saw with RFK, expanded to the third team, maybe took away from the top two teams. And to the Bubba point yesterday, we saw how good he could be and how consistent he could be down the stretch. We know Reddick's got that. Now, remember, the championship race is at Homestead, Miami. When I think of Homestead, I think of Kyle Larson. I think of Tyler Reddick. I think Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, other dirt guys, right? But Tyler Reddick is probably top two on that list of guys you think a track like that. If we do stay in the one race thing, I think if you were listing, guys that are best at Homestead, if it stays in the one race, it's Larson, and then it's Reddick. So you'd love having the second guy at this number. Again, find a way to get there, which he's done before, have a dominant regular season. And if they expand it out over a couple of races, he's a guy who can get hot. I think at 16-1, there's a potential during the season that this number gets a lot lower and you never see it again. And if he can refine what they had just 2 years ago, which I think he absolutely can, you got to bet on Tyler Reddick at this number.
I mean, I'm not anti Tyler Reddick at this number. It gives me a little more pause just knowing that, it was so close in 2024 and wasn't able to see it through to the end. And that gives me a little bit of, and now he's going up against even your Joey Logano again. So,
there is that. But we've also seen, generally guys who get there for the first time don't win. And it's when they come back around. Now they've got the experience. Now they're a little older. Now they've been there before. And yes, the format's probably changing, but still, he's been to that Final Four before. If he can get to the final, whatever it is now, I think that he'll have a good shot.
Yeah, like I said, it's not that I don't think he can. I'm just not racing. I'm a lot like you. I'm not racing to the window for that one at all. But all right, we got plenty of other folks to break down. Laura, I definitely see your questions. We'll come back to that when we talk about that specific driver. But I want to tell you first that Rhythm is crushing it in college football, NFL, and now they just added the NBA. Rhythm is also giving away weekly cash prizes just for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type from any model you build. You can win $1,000. Taking a look at this Packers and Giants game in a couple of days. Total points right now sitting at 47.7 points for this one. I'll tell you right now that there's books that are offering the total at 42.5. So that tells me Rhythm wants us to take the over because they're predicting at least 44.7 points in this matchup. So at 42.5, slam that over and have yourself some fun. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. Points. How about the spread from last night? Everybody, even myself, was like, ooh, 12.5 seems a little bit steep, but I'm still taking it. They did it.
Oh, I had so many things that were so close last night. I had the Patriots at 12.5. Obviously, they win by 13. I had Breece Hall under, so I gave it out in my article, and then I gave it out on Old Fashioned Football at under 60.5. But myself, I was only able to get, with limited options here, under 58.5. He had 58 rushing yards, Rod. I always get screwed by the hook, and finally, the hooks fell my way last night. Got the Patriots. I said on Old Fashioned Football, I said, Patriots start slow. If the Jets get up and you get a live line, take it. 6.5 they gave us. Ooh, buddy, that was an investment and paid off very quickly. What a beautiful game that was, as the Patriots have the best record in the NFL, Rob.
Would you say the hook brought you back as a little Blues Traveler reference?
Hooked me right in.
Hooked brought you back. Travion Henderson, thank God for his big day for my fantasy football team. Loved it.
Oh, Travion. Oh,
yeah. Ramondre Stevenson's going to be a thing of the past, so I'm just saying.
Hopefully.
All right.
Him and his fumbling hands stay on the sideline.
Laura asking us earlier, is Connor SVG's biggest competition on the road course? The answer to that?
Absolutely not is the answer, Rob.
I agree. 100%. Like, this is, so last year, if you look
10-1.
Yeah, he's 10-1 to win the championship. If you look at last year's.
I have a trivia question for you, Rod.
Sure, what's that?
Who is the last NASCAR Cup Series rookie? Now, remember, NASCAR's been around for 77 years, I think it is now. Who is the last NASCAR Cup Series rookie to win the championship title?
The very first guy that ever won, Red Baron. No, I don't know. Who?
Yeah, and he doesn't even count because he raced races before it was that. But no, nobody's ever done. No rookie's ever won the championship. It is not going to happen. There is not a worse bet you can make than Connor Zilisch to win this championship at 100-1. If you wanted to go bet Riley Herbst at 250-1, it's a better bet than betting on Connor Zilisch to win this. Not because I think Riley Herbst has a better chance of winning it, because Connor Zilisch has no chance of winning the NASCAR Cup Series championship. It will not happen, Rod.
And look, the thing is this, too. If you add on to the fact that he didn't even win the Xfinity Series champion when he was dominant, right? There's no way.
To be said for that.
There's no guarantee.
Really
There's no guarantee. And you're up against the best of the best in the Cup Series, and you got to put it all together every single week. There's just, it's hard.
Nothing against Connor. Connor, possibly the best, what's the word I'm looking for? Possibly the
generational
best
talent
prospect. Yeah, generational talent that we've maybe ever even seen come into the Cup Series. He's going to do great things. He's going to have a long career. Love the kid. I told you last year in this offseason shows, bet on him 7-1 to win the championship. You never sniffed that number anywhere close to that ever, and you felt so good having that ticket going into Phoenix. Obviously, it didn't cash for us. So high on him. Love him. Ty Gibbs. You know how much I love Ty Gibbs if you've listened to the show at all. I am in love with Ty Gibbs. I love Ty Gibbs in the Xfinity Series. Made us so much money. I said the same thing when he came into the Cup Series. Do not touch him. I cannot wait for the win totals, Rod. There is a very strong chance if they offer Zilisch win totals, which they will. He's this high up in the championship odds. I am going to put so much money on the under because he is not going to win that many races, if any. I don't think he'll win any races. But it's just going from college football to professional football, it's not easy. Going from college racing to professional racing, it's not easy. And it's not going to be a walk in the park for Connor. He's going to have his ups. He's going to have his downs. Being a rookie is tough. Do not go anywhere near his championship odds. And we'll get to the win total when it comes out. But rookies do not win NASCAR Cup Series championships. I don't care who they are. I don't care what their name is. I don't care what they've done. Dale Earnhardt won his in the second year, but he didn't win it as a rookie, Rob.
Well, and I'll tell you this, too. Last year, right, Connor Zilisch ran he was able to start and complete 3 road course races in Trackhouse equipment. So it's not like he was starting in Rick Ware equipment and going out there and running. He was actually in the equipment he's going to be in this year. He finished 37th at Cotto, crashed out of that race. 23rd at Charlotte, so an oval race for him. And then 11th place at Atlanta. So the road course that he was supposed to be good at, he ended up crashing out of. An oval that he, got some experience in, he finished 23rd. A super speedway, he finished in 11th. So what I'm extrapolating from that, obviously, in his first full season, it's going to be his own car. There'll be his own everything, right? Maybe a little more, but he's got to learn, right? It's not like he's SVG where he's had this massive amount of experience coming into the sport and then come in and win a race, right? Connor Zilisch is going to have to earn it, and he's going to have to learn this Cup car, his own Cup car. And while he's talented, again, we've never said that he's not talented. We've never said that he's not capable of doing great things. He's going to win a championship. It's just maybe not this year because it's definitely tough.
Multiple.
Yes.
He might be one of the greatest drivers we've ever seen when it's all said and done. I have no qualms about that, but it's just you don't see the success right away. He's not going to win races. Yes, he competed with SVG down in the Xfinity Series in his series where he was comfortable with the car, where, which these cars are different from the Cup Series cars, Xfinity cars are. It's just not going to be easy. Love the kid, rooting for him. Great future, right? If you're playing Dynasty Fantasy NASCAR here, he's the one-on-one. You take him. He's going to be great for your franchise going forward, but he ain't going to win you the title this year. Probably spent too much time on him, but just don't get starry-eyed and go bet this kid because he's really good. Rookies don't win Cup Series championships, and it's not going to change this year. And
he's not even old enough to drink either. No, and I don't know why he's 10-1. The books, I don't know what they're thinking. They want action on it. That's what they want.
Yeah, but just go offer it at 100-1. He's not going to win.
Yeah, but at 100-1 though, if he does,
but he's not. He's not going to.
Oh, I know that
if he does, Rod.
Well, okay, look.
This is the one I said. All these guys we can make a case for to win. He's not going to win. I'll tell. He's not going to win. It's not going to happen.
From a book's perspective, I'm not even
going to try and make a case.
From a book's perspective,
it's not going to happen.
I know, I get that, but from a book's perspective,
buy a little insurance if you're a book. I'll book your 100-1s on Connor Zilisch. Hit me up because I'll just take your donations. He ain't winning.
All right, well, let's move on to folks that we think are going to win. We got Chase Briscoe and Chase Elliott both sitting at 10-1. The Chase brothers in the 10-1 range. Chase Briscoe, I picked him for the cover guy because I know you are super high on Chase Briscoe. I mean, look, he was a great story coming out of this season, right? His first year in JGR equipment, started out slow, even admitted, we've said this several times over, that he didn't know how to drive a car that was actually fast. And once he figured it out, boy, he was a big factor in the playoff conversation. And, pretty much could have, should have, maybe, but it was very close for Chase Briscoe. But does he get it done this year?
Yeah, at 10-1, you definitely have to consider him. It's a bit disrespectful to him that Connor Zilisch is at the same number he's at after the season he had, after the run he had, the car he is in, and you're just giving Zilisch in a Trackhouse car, which is technically going to be the third Trackhouse car in reality. Yes, Briscoe is the third JGR car, but that's a big difference in the third JGR car and the third Trackhouse car. That's just crazy to me. But Chase Briscoe, love him. Think he's very capable of it. Obviously, we saw the play. If this is a 10-race chase for Chase here, he probably would have won that this year because how consistent he was, especially over the beginning of that. We saw one back-to-back Southern 500s these last couple of years to get into the playoffs 2 years ago, and then this past year, of course, winning it as the first race of the playoffs. So he's got that clutchness in him. Got to the Final Four, wins one of the races in the round of 8 there at Talladega to lock himself in. Whatever the format is, Chase Briscoe is going to be in this. He's a driver we're going to be talking about as a favorite for years and years and years to come in this 19 car. So haven't decided if I want to bet him at 10-1 just yet as we talk to the rest of these guys, but I've got him noted over here because there's a good chance I'm going to bet him at this number.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to start slow like he did this last year. So I don't know that there's going to be any chance for this number to get better.
He might come out of the gates just swinging, and actually, let's just go ahead and we're going to add that to the card round. Briscoe 10-1. Okay, it's official.
Well, yeah, because again, it's just we know that this is going to be, and in fact, I think 10-1. Yeah, it's disrespectful that he's with Connor Zilisch, but I don't think it's disrespectful because
that Homestead race at the end of the year tends to lean towards dirt drivers. Mm-hmm. Chase Briscoe's a dirt car driver. He's going to be good at that type of track. You got Martinsville as one of those final races. Track he didn't have a good finish, obviously, to this year's, but already locked into the championship race. Who knows what they were doing? But going to be good in those last couple of races for whatever this format is.
Yeah, so definitely make sure to keep track of where that number is. 10-1's good, but how about his buddy Chase Elliott, who, man, I tell you, if you want to talk about a third or a fourth Hendricks car, it almost feels like Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman are kind of tied for the third and fourth.
Let's not stoop that low, Rob.
Listen, Chase Elliott, 8th in the points last year, 2 wins, 11 top 5s, 19 top 10s. So
yeah, are we getting a 36 race full season points? Because I'm very interested in Chase Elliott if that's the case. But we're not getting that. I don't think that's going to be what we end up getting. 10-1. You could probably get this in season with Chase. I love Chase Elliott. He's my favorite driver. As a big fan, I grew up as a big Bill Elliott fan. I've been following Chase since literally, I think he was 14 when I started watching him race in late models and watch him come up through the pipeline, sign that deal with Hendrick very young, and he's obviously worked his way up here. He's a champion. He's gotten it done. I think that not being a one-race deal play into Chase Elliott's hands better. I think he'll have a better chance at it if it is over a couple of races put together, really solid races, maybe without having to win. Seems to be more of his style. So I like that. 10-1, though. Again, I'd rather have his brother Chase in Chase Briscoe there.
Yeah, I think this could be a number that does get better for you as the season progresses, and maybe Chase does get off to a slower start and then starts to pick things up again, or, doesn't make the playoffs over the first, no matter what that is, however that's figured out, over the first month or two of the season, and then, you can probably pick it up as that one. So yeah, 10-1. I don't know. He's a former champion, which kind of makes you think that he could do it again, as I talked about yesterday when we talked about recycling champions.
He definitely can do it, and I think he'll have a shot. I don't know. Kind of in this range, especially the two guys he's sandwiched in between, I'd rather have both of them. I don't want to bet it, but he's always going to be a threat to win the title, I think, because he is a really good race car driver in great equipment. He's got a lot of resources, so just not worth the bet.
Indeed. All right, we've got 3 drivers that are all 6-1 right now. That is Ryan Blaney, William Byron, and Marcus's favorite, Christopher Bell. So let's start with Ryan Blaney. I mean, it's Penske. We took Penske a lot over the last couple of years because they've gotten it done. Obviously, Hendrick broke up the party, but can they return to glory? And for Ryan Blaney, how disappointing it was, right, to not be in the final conversation at all and not be able to win the thing. So I know his role was just to play spoiler in the end, and he almost did, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, look, Ryan Blaney's going to always be one of the championship contenders. He'll always be one of the championship favorites, always somebody that you should probably be holding a ticket on early in the season.
Yeah, I mean, these are the guys where it's like, just pick your poison, which guy you're going to call your shot on this year. Ryan Blaney, he's consistent. Joey Logano, yes, he's got all the championships, but they tend to just piece it together when they need to. Blaney's just good throughout the season. He's good just about everywhere. He's a guy you can count on week to week. He's a guy that's going to have a chance to win week to week. And, yeah, he's a strong favorite for this title. I think that he deserves to be in this group. He's won a championship before. Let's not forget he just won the race at Phoenix. Again, depending on what this format is, if it is a 3-3-4, which is what I see most likely, Phoenix, Martinsville, both in there in that last round, along with Talladega, all tracks he's very good at. Homestead, he's fine at, right? So, yeah, I mean, Ryan Blaney deserves to be in the conversation. 6-1, again, I'm not racing to the books to bet it right now, but he very much should be a title favorite, and we could easily see him be crowned the champion this year.
You know what we need? For those of you out there who have a lot of desire to put something together like this, we need a graph. We need a graph of where the odds begin, opening odds, and then, sort of track it every couple of weeks or something, because I would like to have looked back last year at where all of these guys' odds were early on, and then sort of track them through the rest of the season, because
who knows, there might be somebody out there that has that information from last year. So if you did keep track, hit us up, because we definitely would love to see it. And actually, if you do have that, seriously, it would be a really fun conversation to have on a future off-season episode here. Because it's odds do jump up and down a little bit. Some of these guys you're not really going to get when we get to like the Kyle Larsons. It's like the Chiefs, right? Even when they were bad to start the season, the odds didn't really dip for them to win the Super Bowl. they've kind of always been the favorite just because of the name. But Laura wanted to know if we had any thoughts on Chris Buescher, Rod. We did touch on all of the guys below Ross Chastain at that 25-1 number yesterday on part 1 of this kind of two-parter. So go back and check out that episode, Laura. We did talk about Mr. Buescher back on that one.
We sure did. But let's move to the guy that, boy, you want to talk about a just crushing performance in the championship race. One William Byron started in the outside pole, looked really good for the guy, ended up finishing 33rd, and just was not a good day for William Byron. He's at 6-1 as well, and I guess the question is, can he bounce back? Can he win a ton of races? And what do we do with him?
Just don't listen to his voice if you want to place this ticket. Because when I hear him talk, I don't think to myself, NASCAR Cup Series champion. But he's in that 24 car. Jeff Gordon obviously strongly believes in him. Rick Hendrick, if you've been around for a little while, William Byron got put in this car very young, not a lot of experience. He didn't perform well the first couple of years, and everybody was like, get him out of this 24 car. Why? And then Rick Hendrick signs him to a long deal, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing? Hendrick had like a 1 or 2 year dip, a lot like the Patriots, 1 or 2 year dip where they weren't good, and now obviously they've returned to powerhouse status. But Byron's a big part of that. I mean, I think the conversation's kind of over. Is he the third car at Hendrick? It's not like he's the 2 car at Hendrick now. It's Larson and him as kind of the top dogs over there at this point in time. And again, very deserving to be here. Another guy like Ryan Blaney, where each and every week he's going to be in the mix, good on all different track types, good on all different track styles, regular season champion, of course, from this past year. So, if we're doing a longer 10 races or 36 races or whatever, plays into his part, but he's a guy who can get hot, a guy you can't count out at any point in time.
And this is a guy that the number won't move very much either, right? Doesn't matter whether he's doing well. That summer dip, it's probably not going to move too far off of the 6-1 range. So you either get him now, or you could just wait until it looks like he's going to get closer to it and then probably still grab it at 6-1, because it won't get much higher and it probably won't get much lower than 6-1 for William Byron to win the championship.
And Byron tends to have a summer slump, much like Jimmy Johnson did at times, right? So maybe he comes out of the gate, wins some races, then they kind of cool off. But as we see, and even they sort of that lingered into the playoffs this year, but obviously was still able to put together enough to make it to that championship race just to fuck over Denny Hamlin. Just kidding. But obviously, still were able to pick it up at the end and had a good chance there. I would say he was the second best car on the day. Denny obviously dominated the day, but William was the next best car. Obviously circumstances as they were, doesn't get the title, but he's going to be a threat no matter which format it is. Again, I don't think it matters at this point.
I don't think so either. Marcus, turn your stereo up because we are about to talk about your favorite driver. It is Christopher Bell. He is also 6-1. I mean, look, he had a very good run at making the championship 4, and it was well documented how good he was at attaining that. Obviously did not get there last year, and so the question now is, does this new format benefit Christopher Bell? Can he pick up a first championship under whatever new format they have? Because again, he was great in getting in the Final Four, but now we're not I don't think we're going to go there this year. So what does that mean?
Yeah, probably not. Again, you look at these end races, depending on the format. Phoenix, he's great there. Very, very great there. Martinsville, he's very good. And Homestead, he's also good. Again, that tends towards those dirt track guys on that trickier mile and a half. That race is different than the other mile and a half. So, Bell's been a guy traditionally been the underdog, right? That was kind of the meme, like, oh yeah, you forgot about me from the Netflix show. But not anymore. He's getting the respect. He's the third guy listed on the board now. And I think with good reason, right? It was a disappointing end of the season. Don't forget, he won 3 of the first 4 races of the season. He didn't win at Daytona, but won the next 3 races. And you're like, oh my God, crazy, right? Fell off at the end, didn't make the championship 4. The playoffs were a bit sad for him, but he's a great race car driver in amazing equipment, and a guy that is going to be in the conversation to be a champion each and every year while he's racing at Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah, I don't think there's a person out here that can say you're crazy if you say to put a bet on Christopher Bell to win the championship or to say not to put a bet. It's just one of those things where this is dealer's choice for sure, because you can say for definite sure he belongs in the conversation. He's probably going to put himself in the conversation. He's going to win races. He's going to be consistently good. So no matter what format we talk about later on, that probably stands to benefit him. But then there's also that ability to be like, well, yeah, but he hasn't done it yet, so we'll maybe wait and see him come out a little better. So I would say that 6-1 right now, that may get better. That actually may get better, because Christopher Bell is not one of those William Byron guys, Ryan Blaney guys, that the books are scared if they come out and burn you, because Christopher Bell is sort of a more wild card when it comes to, I suppose, futures betting than some of these other guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing kind of about this whole section we're talking about right now. I think Ryan Blaney up, the 6-1 guys and the 5-1 guys that we're about to get into, I think halfway through the season you could still probably bet on these guys. So do you want to bet on them now? Do you want to bet on them then? Again, you can kind of see how the beginning of the season goes. It's not always a telltale, right? Obviously, Bell began the season great, didn't finish it as well. So I'm not as in a hurry to bet these guys as I am on the guys farther down the board, where if they do come out hot, you're not going to get 40-1 on Ty Gibbs anymore, Ron.
You should never get 40-1. You should be never touching.
You're right. It shouldn't be that high, so you should be getting it now.
Two guys remain on the board. Both of them at 5-1. Both of them battling it out for the championship this year, and it is Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson, both sitting at 5-1 for championship odds. I'll say Kyle Larson's championship parade was happening today in Elk Grove, and unfortunately I was not able to get out there to watch it because I was working.
You're so close, and
so close.
I couldn't make it. That's unfortunate. But yeah, look, these two guys top of the board as they deserve to be. These two guys are the class of the field right now, right? And Kyle Larson relatively had a bad season, aka the retired Captain Shook. And he still won the championship. That should scare everybody in the Cup Series garage, because what he is capable of and how good of a season he is capable of putting together, if he's able to go out and do that, watch out. Because if he can win on a bad year like he had in comparison to his expectations, you got to watch out. Denny Hamlin, I think that a playoff change will be in his favor. I think that he's one of the most, and that actually might be the thing that hurts Larson the most, because, and again, depending on if they award more for wins, that could play into Larson's favor, because he tends to be more of a checkers or wreckers guy, right? He's going to win or he's not going to be as good. And back to the Logano thing, really, that could play in his favor. Well, not really, because he doesn't win that much. So never mind. Forget I said that part. But Larson, I think that expanding the playoffs could hurt him, especially over 10 races, right? If you now expect him to have to go be good at Talladega, you expect him to have to go be good each and every week and not have the mulligans built in there that he tends to rely on. I think it does hurt a guy like him. And I think on the opposite end of things, Denny, if you give him a 5-race sample or a 10-race sample to go out, put your best together each and every week, he's probably the top guy that I'm going to pick to do that. So in the changed playoff format that we're likely getting, of these two, I would actually like Denny a little bit more. But then Kyle is the greatest race car driver in the world. He's the champion. He's a 2-time champion. And it's off of a bad season, where if he actually had a good season, who knows what you're going to get. So, yeah, I mean, these guys are the favorites. They deserve to be the favorites. And, you know, I guess the one thing you can say about Denny is this like betting on the Buffalo Bills? Going to have a great regular season, but choke it away at the end. That's what they tend to do. So, who knows?
Well, and I'll say this. So it was funny because they were interviewing Kyle on the local news station out there in Sacramento, and they were. I wished I was there. I was so mad that I wasn't the one holding the microphone, because I would have asked I think a lot better questions. But he eventually he's like, well, I was surprised, and I didn't even think that we were going to get this until 5 minutes left in the race. And then I started to think, oh, wow, we have a shot. And he's like, we weren't looking good in the middle of the season. We went through a rough stretch. Like, there was a lot going on in the season. But if you look at, too, like this last race stretch that you were talking about, maybe if we extend it out a few races, I mean, 7th at Loudon, 6th at Kansas, 2nd at the Roval, 2nd at Vegas, 26th at Talladega, Super Speedway, we throw it out, but 5th in Martinsville, and then 3rd at Phoenix. That's a really good run down the stretch for Kyle Larson. And Denny Hamlin, on the other hand, did not really have that good of a stretch. 6th at Phoenix, 35th at Martinsville with an engine problem, 24th at Talladega. He won Las Vegas, but 23rd at the Roval, 2nd at Kansas, 12th at Loudon, 31st at Bristol. So, you want to talk about guys on the bad swing of things. If that were a playoff stretch for Denny Hamlin, that'd have been a tough stretch for Denny Hamlin. So, I mean, look, for me, it's hard to repeat as champion, right? It's hard to repeat in NASCAR as a champion. So it would be tough for
we haven't had it since JJ won 5 in a row.
I mean
that's the last time we had a repeat championship was Johnson winning his 5th championship in a row. But even before that, trying to think back without having it right in front of me, is Jeff Gordon the person who won back-to-back? I'd love if you're looking this up, Rod, because I'm thinking back. You think of the pre-Jimmy era. I don't think any of Stewart's were back-to-back. I think there was years separating them. And then, you had a lot of one-off championships in the late 90s, early 2000s. Busch got his. Kurt Busch got his.
It was Busch, it was Stewart, and then Jimmy went on his tear. Yeah. But Gordon,
so before that,
Gordon in 97, 98. Yep, Gordon in 97, 98.
That's a long time ago. That's a lot of playoff form. Don't forget, that's a lot of playoff formats ago because we went from Gordon winning it in the Winston Cup style to going to the 10 race chase, and then we evolved that into all sorts of different things, and we've had different stuff. And for a while now, it's been the 1 race deal, and JJ won his 5 through multiple different things. And like Kyle Larson could be that guy. Like you think of guys on Gordon's level, on Johnson's level, Larson's a guy you put in that conversation, obviously. So certainly he could get it done, but back-to-back is hard in NASCAR in general. Obviously, we've not seen it a ton, over the last 30 years, looking back at that. But also, I think it's harder now than ever to win a title. And I think part of why, both of us agree that Jimmy Johnson is the greatest of all time, because it is harder to win them now than it was when Richard Petty was running 300 races in the season. But, again, another conversation for another day.
Yeah, and both of these guys, look, 5-1 is already a pretty low price, and we've seen championship futures don't really dip too far below 5-1. Yeah. It's not, so this is not one you need to bet now.
If he's coming out and winning 10 races, then you probably can see that number drop, but you can probably get this number after the Indianapolis 500. Make sure he doesn't run that. I don't think he's going to. Although it worked out this year, so whatever. But yeah, I think you probably get on Denny and on Larson this number. And Denny, you might even be a little more cautious. Like you remember last offseason, I was very against Denny going into the year. I thought the crew chief change was weird. He didn't know it was coming. It felt like maybe Father Time was catching up to him. Clearly, I was very wrong on that front. Obviously, he almost wins the championship, right, and wins a ton of races. But the door for Father Time, you got to think Father Time has his foot on the door. Is he ready to kick it open just yet? Maybe not. But nobody's undefeated against Father Time. Even Tom Brady found Father Time at some point, Rod. So that thought has to be in your head. And Super Bowl hangover, the team that loses the Super Bowl generally doesn't perform well the next year. Denny's that guy, right? He just lost a heartbreaking Super Bowl, 28-3 lead, and he blew it. It'd be funny if a team ever did that in the Super Bowl. But that's definitely some points against Denny. So of these favorites, again, you can make cases, obviously, for any of them to win. But I would say it's hard to pull the trigger on any of the guys under 10-1, I would say right now.
Yeah, and like I said, it probably won't move a whole hell of a lot anyways, so you could probably get these later on in the season and still be good to go, and then you'll have a better understanding, too, maybe a better picture of what the playoffs are going to look like, what the season's going to look like, and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, and I guess maybe we could talk about that as we discuss the playoffs in a little bit when we go live again. But does that change our mind, depending on what the format is, on maybe who we suddenly think is the I don't think anybody's going to change the favorite from being Larson, but does it drastically change anybody's odds? Once we get all the details of, okay, wins count for this, okay, this is, playoff points are going to roll over and not reset, or there's going to be 10 races, or there's any number of ways, again, that things could go, that we'll have a clearer picture. And then maybe at that point, it's like, okay, we do want to bet on this guy now because of the number.
Well, we'll definitely flesh all of that out in the next episode. Like Cody said, we will be coming back in a couple of hours to stream live. And if you're not listening to it on the stream, you'll get it the next day on the podcast feed, because that's the way we're going to do it this week. Obviously, like we said, we had to push everything back a couple of days because of me being unavailable for actual normal day shows. But
more normal schedule next week. We'll be talking about the Las Vegas Grand Prix next week. So more racing going on right now to bet on, which will be pretty exciting. But yeah, join us about 2 hours here, Rod. We'll be jumping back on 7:30-ish Central Time, 5:30 out there on the left coast to talk about potential playoff formats changes. I don't even know if I know for sure what I want to see, but maybe we'll talk through it and figure it out. So just to recap, too. So bets I'm placing right now, Rod, on champions for 2026. SVG at 150-1, book it. Brad Keselowski at 50-1. Tyrone Gibbs at 40-1. Tyler Reddick at 16-1. Chase Briscoe at 10-1. I tentatively wrote down Blaney at 6-1 here. I'm not ready to pull the trigger, but I'm sort of feeling a Ryan Blaney year, so we'll see. But Briscoe, 10-1, Reddick, Gibbs, Keselowski, SVG. I would bet all those guys today. I think that you could see a drastic shift in all of their odds. I think they've all got a good enough, again, they're not favorites, obviously, but I think they've got a good enough path to get there, get it done. So yeah, I'm going to bet all those guys.
Sounds good.
Already.
So, so we'll put that out, obviously. We'll keep track of those as the season progresses. Yes. All right. Well, Cody, then let's adjourn for a couple of hours and come back and hit this again. But in the meantime, if anybody's wondering, where can they find you out in this wide world of ours?
Yeah, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeb. You can find all of my stuff over there. And ton of it. But lots of football stuff right now, Rod. It's football season. So yeah, follow me on all the stuff there. Hopefully you did on the Thursday night stuff, because that all panned out pretty good. Swept the Thursday night Oracle, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, tons of that stuff. So check me out there. And yeah, head over to YouTube, click that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Keep the Spotify comments coming. We always love to see those YouTube comments. Keep it strong during the off season here. We're that much closer to being back to NASCAR Cup Series racing. Yeah, see you guys in a little bit.
Indeed, and we've got lots of car number histories to hit you up. No, I'm just kidding. We won't do that. You guys spoke loud and clear about that. But follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. You can find all of my stuff on there as well. And yeah, we'll see you in a few hours, or we'll see you tomorrow, depending on where you're listening. So until then, let's go racing and let it ride.